What's up, DIY queens? It's your design bestie, Cara Newhart, and this is Make Space.
Hi, it's me again, your design bestie, Cara, and I'm so excited you're here. This one is going to be so good. It's a solo episode, and we're unpacking 12 of the things that might be holding you back from loving your house. So we are going to get into how to have a house that you're happy with. This is a very multifaceted topic. So that's why there's 12 things that we're going to unpack. But here's what I know. There's a ton of ideas out there about what your house should be. There's ideas from the industry, like trends, specific interior designers take. Your friends and family might have opinions on your house. Your neighbors, your partner, your kids, you might have like a concept of what you think your home should be. And so there's a lot of opinions on what your house should be. And honestly, if I'm to distill all of this into one concept, the secret to having a house you're happy with is turning down the volume on all the shoulds, and turning up the volume on your inner voice and saying like, here's what I want my house to be, and here's what I'm going to do to make it happen. Like that is the gist of how to be happy in your house. And obviously that's oversimplified because there's so many other things that come into play in order to make that happen, whether it's finances or feeling confident in your design choices or knowing how to pick up a tool to make it happen or making mistakes or whatever it is. Like that journey to get there is long, but it's worth it because if you take time to intentionally like create a house that you love and that you're happy in, like it has ripple effects through your whole life. From feeling like your space reflects you creatively and has like a point of view and a style that feels like you, from just having a house that like supports your everyday life where you get up in your routine. Like there's design elements that like support that routine. Like there's places for everything and you can function well in your space. Like it changes your life. And I think so many times we as a society focus on like the aesthetics of our house as like the main, like 80% of when we talk about our houses. It's like, how do things look or trends or projects or like the aesthetics. And then just a little bit of like, how are things functioning and how are we, on this journey of having a house and changing things. And that's just so interesting to me because when it comes to like any other category of our lives, like fitness or finances or health, like how it looks is like a part of it, but it's like a much more proportional part of the topic. And homes, it's just not. And so that's like one of my biggest goals with this show is to help us approach our homes like a little more holistically because I love design. I am addicted to DIY projects. And the aesthetic part is like, I need a space that's pretty. Like I need it to look good or I'm not here for it. But like, that's just a piece of what home is. And so I really want to use this show to explore all of that and really kind of reframe the conversation so that we are looking at our homes more holistically and more as a part of our like real life versus just trends and looks and colors and pillows and all the fun stuff that is so fun. So I feel like, I wanted to just kind of unpack the reasons we're holding ourselves back from being happy in our house. And I have 12 of them that I think are like the main ones. There could be many, many more. These are very personal. And so some of these 12 may be bigger or smaller for you. But I just wanted to go through them because I think like when we can see this more clearly and we can understand like why, it's so much easier to fix the problem versus being like, I don't like my house. I don't know what to do. I scroll social media endlessly and I don't know where to start. I don't feel like I have enough money to make an impact. And we just kind of get stuck in that like almost like a state of feeling like helpless or like it's not worth it or like we just don't know what to do. And that's like a horrible place to be. And so empowerment is just me being like, hey, I see where you are and I would like to help you move to a more place of feeling like you've got this and you can have an impact on your spaces, and you don't have to be a designer or have any sort of training in order to do that. You just need to be like intentional, and we just need to think through this together and figure out what we want so that we can balance all the fun stuff of projects and paint colors and the intentionality. So yeah, I feel like that whole thing made it sound way easier than it is, but it really is easy. We just get in our own way. And so that's what this episode is about, is like, here's 12 things that 12 ways you might be getting in your own way. And what one could we focus on this week to change it up? Or even just shift our perspective slightly to make a difference. And I think it's really impactful. So I have these in the book. And by the book, I mean the Make Space Journal. And I have to find them because I don't know them all in my brain. There's very few things we keep in our brain. Most things I have to write down. Okay, so in the Make Space Journal, which, shameless plug, is available on Amazon, and I wrote it just for you because I did things the hard way. But you're getting this full free right now. I call these the 12 tough truths. And it's the 12, I think, biggest struggles I see around people, how they feel about their house and how they approach their home. And so these are things I've gone through myself, like in the weeds, tried to get through and figure out. And also just like from the thousands upon thousands of DMs and people on social media that I get to interact with every day. These are just kind of some themes that I'm seeing all the time. So these may not all be your truths, but like think about the ones that feel maybe a little bit like a gut punch or like you're being called out, because that's probably something we need to focus on. So this feels like a fun like book reading, like you're all here and I'm reading you a story. It's not a story. Okay, number 1 is on aesthetics. This one says, the way your house looks is never more important than how it feels and functions. In a world where almost anything can arrive on your doorstep in just 2 days with free shipping, things that are just pretty are becoming uninteresting. Curating well-functioning, purposeful, and great-feeling spaces is the real goal. So this one is, I think, where many of us start, especially when we decide to get serious about our house and home decor. We start with the way it looks. And for so long, I was trying to curate a space that looked a certain way because I thought that if I achieved that, it would make me feel a certain way or help me like be a certain kind of person. So for me, like creating a space that I thought looked how it should look was going to like set me up for success to be like the person I wanted to be. And I talk about this a lot when I talk about like, you don't actually want your dream home. You just want the version of you that lives there. Like you want a bigger kitchen because if you had a bigger kitchen, you could cook more and you could be the mom that cooks more. Or if you have a spare room, you could have a home gym and you'd work out more. So like, obviously there are tangible things about our house that maybe having a different house would be better. Like there's having more space, maybe you just want more space, but there's a part of that, like wanting something different that is like, I want to be different. So I don't just want to live in a different space. Like I have a dream version of me that lives in that dream home and she's different. She's like who I want to be. And aesthetics, I think, is just like the easiest way to see it. Like it's the easiest way to visualize something. And so aesthetics, like wanting things to look a certain way, is not wrong and it's not bad. It's just a smaller piece of the puzzle than a lot of times we make it out to be. So this was the hardest one for me, like so many times. And I think I also learned this the hard way from like being on social media and sharing my house over the past 4 years. Well, houses, because we're on like the 4th house I've lived in because I apparently love moving. 4 years later, yeah, I've lived in 4 houses. Like I can't commit. So that's a whole other thing we have to unpack. But yeah, I feel like I've learned this the hard way because there's so many times when I was doing projects or I was shooting content for like a brand collaboration and I was literally like styling things for a photo to get it out in time. And this is my favorite when influencers do like the perfect space, and then you pan over in the corner and it's like dumpster fire, like piles of things and so horrible. That's what my house looked like pretty much all the time. And I mean, I feel like I did a pretty good job of sharing the real parts, you know, like I would do like a messy house tour where randomly I would have to drop everything and just like show everyone my actual house exactly how it was, wasn't allowed to touch anything. And we had some good laughs. Many people were horrified for me, understandably, like things were rough. So I tried to balance that. And I feel like it wasn't necessarily that I was trying to like put on an image of perfection. It was more for me, like I was exploring the art of it, right? Like I was exploring like a vignette or curating like this space for a photo and styling it like art. I think for some people, the struggle really is more on the like putting out an image of perfection and showcasing your life a certain way and telling that story. For me, it really wasn't about that. My struggle was more like, I don't know, just, yeah, I think wanting things to look a certain way, but I definitely shared like the mess too. So it's like, if I wanted it to be perfectly curated, we would have just left that part out. But yeah, I don't know if that's resonating well with everyone, but I think all that to say, I learned the hard way that like aesthetics for aesthetic's sake are not enough, because number one, I had a perfect piece of my house and then the rest was a mess, and it just wasn't like sustainable, and it wasn't like I couldn't live there. Like my house literally felt like a museum sometimes. It's like, don't touch anything because we have to keep it there for the photo shoot. So yeah, I feel like I learned that in a more like concentrated way, more intense way, but I think it's true for everyone that, you know, setting things up or refreshing a space, like we think of before and after, and it's not a before and after. Like those are just two snapshots along a full journey of evolving our house over time as we change and as our needs change. So that's that one. So I would say that's probably the biggest one for many, many people. Okay, number 2. This is about self-care. And so if you're not being intentional about setting up your home to support what the best version of you needs, you're missing out on being supported by your spaces. Space care is an essential form of self-care. I love the self-care trend, revolution rather, let's call it a revolution over a trend, of just the intentionality around taking care of yourself, like creating space for bubble baths and snacks, and sometimes sitting around crying, if like that can be self-care too. It doesn't just have to be like the glamorous stuff. But the way it was explained to me at one point was that it's kind of like a target, right? Your whole life. And in the middle, you have you, like the things that you can control about you. So your fitness, your health, what you're putting into your body, how you're moving your body, how you're taking care of yourself, skincare, all of that stuff. And then the next ring out is like your family, so the people that are close to you. And then the next ring out is like your environment, or it can also be like acquaintances. And so when it comes to mental health and self-care, like you have the most control over that inner ring. And that's the part that needs supported first, because as you work your way out to the circle, like you're not going to be able to take care of your house if you're not in a good place and you don't have the support you need for your mental health, or you're not able to take care of yourself. So like that is number 1, is that inner ring. But then as you move outward and we start to say like, okay, how can I set up my environment that supports me? Space care is what I like to call it, is part of self-care. It's a smaller part than like daily hygiene and taking a shower, but it's still really influential. Like how our spaces are set up can affect our mental health, can affect how we feel every day, can affect how if we're confident about ourselves. I know that like when I create a space that I feel like is really reflective of my personal style, it gives me like a confidence boost. It's like, okay, like I know who I am. I know what I like. I know I am here. And it helps me like go out into the world with like a different level of confidence around that. So I think making the shift is interesting to start viewing your space as an environment that is helping you thrive or not thrive. So like think of like a plant, as we have so many plants that are all fake here in this studio. If it has the right conditions, like it has really good lighting, it has really nutrient rich soil, it's getting enough water, like that helps the plant thrive or not thrive. And so, or like a flower, like it blooming or not blooming, we don't blame the flower. We look at like the conditions, like, oh, well, it didn't get enough water, so it wilted. Like that's not the flower's fault. Its environment wasn't tailored to helping it thrive. And so that's essentially like the root of what home design is like, how do we set up an environment that helps the people that live there thrive? And on the surface, it's the physical things and it's beauty, because I think beauty and good design really inspire and it can help us thrive, but it's deeper than that. So this one is all about shifting your perspective of your home from it's a physical place filled with physical things I love, with paint colors and things that I have chosen or I'm trying to choose, to, okay, this is like a living, breathing environment that is supporting me every day. And I can make changes to it that can then better support me. And so not only are we doing things to make things look pretty, because that's fun, but like investing in your house is actually investing in yourself in a way. So that is number 2. Okay, the next one, flipped too many pages. The next one is about dream homes. And the hard truth here is that if you aren't happy now, you won't be happy in your dream home. Rooms don't create joy. We bring joy into them. They're literally an empty space that we have to fill, both with things and the values and feelings we want to nurture there. So this one's like, sort of like, so this shift is really impactful across the board. And I feel like hindsight's 2020, and now being on my 4th house. So there's like 2 different times I feel like I had bought my dream house. So rewind 5 years ago, I'm living in an apartment on the 3rd floor of this building in Denver. There's no elevator. I have to carry my daughter in her car seat and all the groceries up and down the stairs. It was an amazing workout, but it was very intense. So it's this little like 2-bedroom apartment. And I remember being just like unhappy with that space, like thinking, having all these like one day whens, like one day when I have a garage, I can do da 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 da. Or one day when I have like a yard, I'll be able to da 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 da. And having all these like dreams that I feel like I was waiting to be happy until I could achieve. And so then like we're in that apartment for a year and a half. And then we bought our first house in Denver. It was so much money for such a basic small house. But I remember being like, okay, like I finally have a house. Like this is it. Like I'm going to be so happy. And then it's like, it's funny how you like level up and then all of a sudden it like starts again. It's like, okay, well now I have a garage, but it actually, there's only 2 cars. And now I'd really like another one for a space for a workshop because I've started doing all these projects with tools. Or we have a yard, but it's like this 10-foot by 40-foot alleyway. And so it's not like a real yard, and I want a pool, and I want like, it's like there was just so many other things that I wanted that were not on the original list. And first of all, I think we shouldn't shame ourselves for that, because I think this is just like a natural thing to always like want to expand and want to grow and want to become better. So just because we've like leveled up and we see like what could be next for us, it's not to say like, don't have dreams and you should just be happy exactly where you are and stay there and not want anything. It's to say like, happiness is not linked with that process of like leveling it up and expanding and going for different goals or having different dreams. Your happiness should be linked to now, like what's happening right now. This is like a life lesson, but it's hard. Like that is very hard because I feel like, especially in America, when things are very capitalist and very like materialist, and we have like the American dream, which is like a checkbox of all these things you're supposed to have or do or be in order to be happy. Like we're kind of set up for failure in that way. But I think the sooner we're able to unlink our happiness with our dreams of what we want, especially tangible physical things that we want, and realize that those are not connected in a direct way where like we get what we want and then we're happy kind of thing, the easier it is to be happy. This one took a lot of thinking and a lot of years of trial and error, and honestly, a lot of like going through the experience of like not having something, getting it, and then being like, wait, I'm the same person that I was before when I wanted this thing. It was also with like social media. I remember having like 10,000 followers on Instagram and like hitting that number and being like, wow, like this is amazing. There's so many people. And then it like the next day it's like, okay, but there could be even more. And it's like with each big milestone I hit, like 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, it never felt like enough because there was always more that I could get, or there was always people out there I saw with more. And so that's what contentment truly is, like with our spaces and with what we have. It's saying like, I could always have more. There will always be more available to me. I have a long path in which I can grow and achieve more. But right now, in this moment, with what I have, I'm happy. And I say that as if I'm a wise sage that knows how to be happy right now. But listen, I'm still on this path, like right there with you every single day. But yeah, that's just kind of about dream homes. Okay, the next one is about home hate. And this is where you just hate the house you have. Like there's things that just you are driven insane by. Like my first apartment, it was this tiny kitchen with no storage and nothing would fit. And it was just miserable and it made me angry every single day. But this is, if you're being unkind to your home and hating how it is, you're probably being far too unkind to yourself too. The carpet that you hate is not the only problem. Your negative self-talk is spilling over into your critique of your spaces. This one that's like a hard wake-up call for me. I know that it's like, maybe not everybody struggles with this. Maybe some people are just like, I don't care where I live and it's all fine and I care about other things. But for me, it's like my physical environment really affects me. Like it being beautiful really impacts my mood. It being a mess really impacts my mental state. And so I think I've always sought like beautiful spaces to help support me. And it might be the Cancer energy in me. I don't know, like being born in July. Maybe that has nothing to do with it, but it would be a reasonable explanation possibly. But this one is that like, if you are a critiquer and you're really apt to judge things, which I am, I don't know if it's like a personality thing or I just really like assessing things and making decisions and being very decisive about whether things are awesome or not, then I think you can be too hard on your house. And I think you can over critique it to a point where it's really hard to be happy there because you're just like too annoyed or too, just hating it. This is where like it's either the path is either to change it. Like even if it's an apartment, the things you hate, you might be able to change, like throw a rug over that gross carpet and then you don't have to look at as much of it every day. So either change it or get okay with it is like the answer here. Both easier said than done. But that's, I think my role is that if you want to change it, I'm here to help you figure out how to change it in a way that's affordable and sustainable and correct for you. So that's why we're here, is to change the things we hate about our house. And if you're the kind of person that can be like, I hate it so much, but I'm going to just pretend it's not happening, that's amazing. Like, can you tell me the secret to being able to ignore things that you hate, like red carpet? Because I would like that. Okay, the next one is on inspo images. And when I say inspo, I mean inspiration. Some people are confused, but I feel like inspo is just my go-to word now, but that just might be the social media in me. Okay, you don't actually want the room in the photo. You want the version of yourself you think you would be if you had that space. So this we already covered a little bit, but you want the spare room because you'd have a home gym. You want the big yard because you'd have a garden. You want the garage so you can have a whole workshop, which meanwhile, like an aside on that, I went from a tiny garage, no workshop, to then in Texas, we had a 3-car garage and I took over the whole thing, stole it from my family and made it a whole workshop. And do you want to place bets on how often I actually used it? I was for real still cutting boards in the house, like with a tarp underneath. So sometimes you think you want something to be happy and then it's not it. But yeah, when you're looking at inspiration images, it can be very easy to get caught up in like, I don't know, just being stuck, or the comparison game of like, oh, I don't have that. And if I only had that, it would all be perfect. But I think rather using inspiration images, not to show you what you want or what you should do, but to show you what's possible, or even just inspire you to be like, wow, that's something I've never seen before. How can I take an element of this I like and turn it into a project in my own house? So using inspiration images to actually inspire you versus to prescribe what trends or things you should do in your house. And some people don't struggle with this at all. Like literally some people are just inspired people and they find inspiration wherever they go. And others of us struggle with comparison when we see a pretty space. And there's also something to be said about like respecting art for what it is, even if it's not for you. Like there's some spaces, for example, like lime green spaces with like dark colors. I'm able to look at that and appreciate the art and the design of it and still be like, not for me. I don't want that in my house. Do not paint my walls black. I will not survive in a cave. But I look at it and I'm like, wow, like that's beautiful. And the way they combine things is beautiful, or the different elements are beautiful, or like what a strong point of view. And so I think viewing inspiration as art and being able to have that like art appreciation for it, and instead of like making it mean something about your house specifically. Okay, next on magazine-worthy rooms. And this is something I learned the hard way from being a team of one person having to shoot all kinds of crazy, wild photos that are like magazine-worthy, pin-worthy. It usually, for a magazine, it takes a team of experienced people and literally thousands of dollars of equipment to create one still photo of that space. Just one photo. So comparing your room to that room is literally ridiculous. Not only that, not only is it like professionals and professional equipment, it also is like a lot of these shots are done from a perspective that you would never actually be in if you were in that room. So the best example is like if you're taking a shot of a full room, like a photo of an entire room, sometimes as the photographer, you're going to be pinned into the corner, crouched with your arms, your elbows pulled in so they don't get in the shot, and like hiding behind the plant so you can like shoot out and take a picture of the room and have the right angle, right? So it's like the angles that we're getting in magazine photos are like half the time not even real like point of views that you would have if you're walking around the house. You're never going to get crouched in that corner to look at the room that way. So when you're designing as an everyday person who lives there, you're designing for your eye, for how you actually see things, not for how the picture makes it look. So giving yourself permission that magazines the photos are just a certain point of view. Like they're there for inspiration. They're there to help you see things differently. They're not there to copy and paste into your space. And once you allow yourself that freedom, it's so much more fun. Like, so much more fun. Okay, next. On other people's opinions. This may be controversial, but I'm 1,000,000% behind the fact that the only people that get to have an opinion about your home are the ones that live there. Period. Like, that's it. If you don't live in my house, you can tell me what you think, but you don't actually get to have an opinion, and I don't have to care. I may care, but I usually do not. I feel like I'm clearly jaded from putting my house on the internet for 4 years, right? And having, no matter what I do, like no matter what space I make, there are people that love it and are so kind and are so excited and are so encouraging. And there are people that hate it. And a space that took me 2 months of blood, sweat, and tears, like literal, to make, people are ripping down in 5 seconds with a comment about how they hate it so much and they like it better than before. They liked it better before, and the 80s called and it wants their gold back and blah, blah, blah. Whatever the opinion is. That used to like gut me. Like, for real. The people pleaser in me could not handle the people critiquing my space. I feel like I'm like now battle hardened by that because, number one, I don't care. It's my house. I live here. You probably don't ever get to come see inside because I don't know you and we're not friends yet. So it doesn't matter what you think if you're going to be rude about it. Also, it's like, I don't know, like you go make a room then, you know? It's like you're going to rip down my hard work and my vision and my point of view. Like, go make your own room. It's easy to sit there and type a mean comment. It's hard to spend 2 months making an entire room by yourself on top of a ladder. So not everyone has that experience. Like, not everyone has made the questionable decision to put your entire house on social media for all the world to see and critique. Like, that is just something I opened myself up to and I decided to deal with in doing that. And I get that. But I think it's like been kind of like, I don't know, I learned quickly like how little others' opinions should really influence my space at all. Because at the end of the day, if you're letting people's opinions influence how you feel or how you design your house, you need to go deeper and get more in tune with what you want your home to be. So this can be as simple as the neighbor making a comment, as a mother-in-law having a strong opinion, as your own mom having an opinion. And so if people are not in the trenches with you every day living in that house, they shouldn't get input in the sense that it's like influencing your decisions. There's input in the sense that it's like we're sharing our house with others. We're talking about it. We can show it to people, but that's like a lighthearted, like fun conversation topic is like, look at this paint color or look at this really cool thing I got while I was on a trip and now it's displayed in my house. And it's like, that's conversational, right? It's like the art of it. Like we're discussing it. We're not letting other people's opinions influence or dictate how we're living and existing in our spaces. Because it's just not worth it. But that one can be really hard, like really hard. Because I think, especially when you don't know what you're doing, whether you're new to design or you just aren't confident in your decisions, having other people weigh in can be really influential when you're unsure. And it's okay at first to let it kind of help you or direct you, but eventually you reach a point where you're like, I got this. Thank you. The next one, on budget. You do not need a bigger budget to create spaces you're obsessed with because you don't actually need more money. You actually need more creativity. The satisfaction you get out of your spaces is directly related to the intention and care, not the amount of money you're willing to put on them. This one, I have learned that money can buy really incredible things, but it can also just buy a matching furniture set that's brand new and really a horrible look. Like no one's bed needs to match their dresser anymore. Unless it makes you happy and you really love it, then you should get it. But I think that for the most part, when we look at our houses, we think we're lacking money. And sometimes we are. Like, depending on your financial situation, money could be a real, actual obstacle for you. And I'm not trying to discount that in any way. But I am saying that a lot of the problems that we think can be solved with just more money actually could be solved better with more intentionality and more creativity. Like being more thoughtful about what we're doing and being more creative about finding solutions that are very effective and very beautiful but not expensive is a better approach. Like to have that be our first go-to plan and then, then more money. So if you're like, I don't have enough money to have the dream home, my dream home, like I need so much more money, I would challenge you. It's like, that's phase 2. Unless you have exhausted all resources and been so intentional about your space and literally tried everything creatively, then you can say, I don't have enough money. But if you haven't tried creativity and intentionality first, you're probably not facing a money problem, which is encouraging because it means that it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Like we could save that money for other things like magical vacations or food or whatever it is that you want to use your money for. So that one I learned the hard way too, by having no money to spend on my house, which is really why I started DIY in the first place. Was like, we bought this house and there was no budget. And I was like, okay, I will just teach myself how to do all this stuff so I can make it mine. Okay, following that up with a very related one on creativity. Believing that you can't create gorgeous, polished-looking spaces because you're not a professional, you don't know where to start, or you're quote-unquote not creative is a lie. The creative process is a journey. Creativity takes practice, and making truly beautiful spaces you love is absolutely possible for you. You just have to take some time to nurture and cultivate your creative voice. So this one, I feel like I hear all the time. I'm not creative. I don't have an eye for design. Listen, all you have to do is look at my first house. I'm super creative, and I always have been my whole life. But my first house, some of the spaces were truly horrible. Like, not quite Trading Spaces bad, but like real bad. Like, you remember some of the old Trading Spaces episodes where it's almost like they turned a room into like a movie set, and it's like, is it livable? Like, I don't know, they painted the windows shut, they ripped up the carpet, and now it's concrete just for like the look and feel and vibe for it to look a certain way. Some of my early spaces were truly terrible. And so the thing is, like, I needed more creativity and I needed more practice, because creativity is a journey and it's like a muscle. Just like fitness, if you don't have a dedicated fitness routine to achieve specific results, you're not going to get those results. Like, you're not going to have 6-pack abs if you just sit on the couch all day. Like, it's just, that's not how it works. And same with creativity is, if you don't exercise your creativity and you don't practice being creative and trying things, and it's like, you're just not going to have that skill. So the shift here is that you're not born with it or not born with it. It's something you develop and nurture. And some people may have had experiences that helped them develop and nurture it more, such as going to art school, such as having art class through elementary school, such as having that as a natural thing they want to pursue. But the reality is that, like, that was something that they honed and they practiced. And if you haven't put in the work to hone and practice your creativity, you might not feel creative. And so it's very freeing again, because it's like, okay, well, let's just practice. Let's just practice and we will get there. Okay, we have 3 more. Next, on clutter. Your home is an outward expression of what's happening in your inner world. If it's messy out here, it's probably feeling scattered or unfocused inside too. Clutter is not inherently negative. Like sweat during a workout, clutter is a byproduct of a lived-in home. A clutter-free home is not a badge of honor. An effective system to manage how you deal with clutter in your spaces is the real win. Okay, so this one, clutter is dealing with clutter. Like you just need a system. If you don't have a clear process for how things get processed, put away, and moved around in your home, they're going to pile up in areas they're not supposed to. And if your home isn't designed to make it easy to process your things or deal with your things or manage your things, whether it's shoes or clothes or knickknacks, like it's just not gonna work. In the journal, I have a whole process about how to deal with clutter. I'm not like a professional organizer. I have a couple episodes with actual professional organizers. They are so good. I am totally like ADHD, like kind of like a dumpster fire. Things are usually everywhere. And so I have to be very intentional around managing clutter. And I have to have a very clear process and make myself do it because it's not something I'm naturally good at, being organized and picking things up. Like I get something out and then get distracted and wander off and leave it. So this is not an easy process for me. So in the journal, we walk through kind of some things that could help if you're with me, but it's approachable. It's by no means like glorious rainbow colored bins or acrylic organizers or like super satisfying before and afters. That's not my version of dealing with clutter. I pretty much just have set up my spaces in a way where I can like accommodate for the fact that I'm naturally not great at this. Like we have baskets that we stash things in so that things are like organized-ish, but mostly just the mess is like out of sight and it's put somewhere where I know I can find it, but it's not like perfectly organized or labeled by any means. All that to say, clutter naturally happens in your house if you live there. And so it's not something to shame yourself about. It's not something where if there's no clutter, like you're a better person. It's just whether or not you have a good system to deal with it. That's all. And whatever system that is going to depend on your personality, your strengths, who you are. And yeah, it really is that simple. So forgive yourself for having a pile of things on your chair that you never put away. Next, on style. You can't find your style because you aren't listening to your own voice and giving your creativity the chance to speak. You've given your creative power away to trends and professionals to prescribe what you should put in your home instead of taking charge and nurturing your own creative perspective. You'll connect with your style more easily when you take that power back and trust yourself to express your creative point of view. There's a lot to unpack when it comes to style and finding your style. Here's 2 things I know. Number 1, style is inherently personal. And the more you can view style as expression and less as rules or elements you like when you say style, some people immediately go to like what colors we're using, what, I don't know, things we're using. Is there chippy paint and it's farmhouse? Is it very clean and modern? Like we go to the visuals first instead of realizing style is expressive and personal. The second thing about that is that there's a lot of words out there that we use to describe style. So modern farmhouse, mid-mod, eclectic, colorful, monochromatic, whatever it is, all those terms are tools. And I think when we overly identify with like farmhouse decor or mid-century modern decor, we kind of like box ourselves in to a specific design style that has a lot of rules and features. And we don't let ourselves like explore and try things. And so those labels are helpful, number 1, when you're shopping to Google things and search things. Number 2, to give you language to describe certain things. But I would say don't use them as your label for what your style is. So, for example, my style, I finally had to give a name to because I did enough interviews where people asked me what my style was and I didn't know what to call it. So now I call it grounded glam. And it's like a lot of plants, a lot of natural tones, very grounded. And then glam, like a lot of bougie stuff, like gold and up-leveled, polished looking things. So that's how I describe my style. But there's a lot of pieces from like vintage to eclectic to modern to mid-century that can fit in that style because it's me, right? So give your style a name that you made up and view it as you and your creative perspective. Okay, and finally, on paint colors. So there is no perfect paint color. There isn't. That's all you need to know. And paint color is not a magic bullet. But if you let yourself play with color, you'll learn to make your own magic. Color is inherently personal. So paint, I feel like people get so intimidated by paint in terms of like, what color should I use? And we swatch 100 colors and we sit with it and we're indecisive. And if you're like me, you repaint things 100 times to be sure. But paint, I think, first of all, is one of the best tools for design in terms of like, you can paint and unpaint a wall in the very same day for a very low price. So it is one of the most beautiful ways to experiment in your house. And don't get hung up on like, I feel like this is coming from the fact that I see so many people that are like, this is the color, like the perfect white is this. And people get very attached to the names, and there's like paint trends, and there's like all these rules about paint and like color and what you should do. But paint colors should be freeing and experimental and fun. And yes, there's strategy like undertones and color temperature and all kinds of things that can help you better play with color. But if you are new to design or you're finding your footing in terms of your confidence, go play with paint in your space. Paint your furniture, paint your walls, paint anything, because it's the cheapest and most approachable way to start that experimentation. I don't know if you heard, but my stomach growled and I'm very hungry and I need more coffee. And this was very long, but I think very good. I hope at least that you got some good nuggets out of this. That is like being happy with your home in a nutshell. It's like the 12 things everyone struggles with the most and how to think about them a little bit differently. I hope there was at least one in here that like resonated with you and hit you. If not, I hope you were entertained by my embarrassing and weird stories. And but seriously, I really hope this helped you shift your perspective on taking charge of your home, because I really want you to know how powerful it is when you actually do that, and how it can really change your whole life, which sounds so ridiculous and dramatic and inspirational, but it literally can. Like, having a home that supports you makes your life better, and it is within reach in more ways than one. It's up to you what that looks like. So yeah, if you like this episode, you should come over on Instagram and we should talk about it there. You can come to Make Space Pod and DM me. I will be there. Or you could share it in your story if you really want to. Or you could send it to a friend. That would mean a lot to me if you had somebody that you think this would help and you shared it. That would be amazing. But other than that, I will see you next week. We can talk on Instagram in between. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings, your feedback. If you have an amazing guest that you think I should interview, I'm open to all the suggestions, and I love hearing from you. It's so special when you let me know what you thought, or you have really good insight into like something I said, because then it's like a conversation, because it should be. I don't want to just talk at you. I want to know, what you're thinking and how this is helping or not helping you. So let me know what you think. And until next week, see ya.
Thanks for listening. And if you've got more episodes to catch up on, binge on. Don't let me stop you. But if you've got a second, you should come say hi on Insta at MakeSpacePod. And if you're an overachiever, you can also leave a review and I'll love you forever. If you're new here, hit that follow button to officially become a DIY queen and join all the amazing humans tuning in every week.